And what I'm going to be dropping is 3 tips that you most likely haven't heard before on how to speak up, speak out, and speak for income. I'm not one of these fluff speakers. I'm not going to dance around it. I'm going to tell you exactly what you need to know to speak with confidence and to become a speaker if you want to speak for income. I am the Fearless Confidence Coach. In 2020, I took a chance because I was tired of living timid. I spent most of my life living as a timid wallflower, and I said, enough is enough. I'm going to push myself outside my comfort zone. And I went as far from my little bubble of being timid to what that would be. And I thought, you know what? I'm going for TED. And in 2020, I applied to 4 TED Talks. I was not really sure how the process worked, but I put myself out there. I took the chance. I was extremely nervous. And lo and behold, I cracked the code. I said the right things. Everything fell. The stars all lined up for me, and I was invited to speak. I had 4 invitations, but because in 2020, that was the pandemic year, some of those fell through. But I did end up speaking on the San Francisco stage, which was amazing. Now, how can a quiet, timid wallflower, someone who never spoke up, would never normally be on an app like this, who never raised their hand at any meeting or school function ever, how can I become a speaker? Well, I'm going to tell you exactly how to do it if you're thinking the same thing. If you're someone who's afraid to speak or noticing that you're a little bit quiet, maybe you're soft spoken. I was very quiet, soft spoken. You get talked over. You feel that you're just not a natural. Like there's some people who are extroverted. I'm not. So if this is you, I understand your pain. I know how it feels to always question yourself. Should I ask that question? No, that's stupid. Don't say anything. We're in our head all day long. But something really interesting happens when we push ourselves outside our comfort zone. We begin to explore really the amazing things we're capable of. So tip number 1 is just to acknowledge that yes, speaking up, speaking out, speaking assertively, speaking on the stage can be scary. But you have to understand this is an unnatural thing. It's not something we're born doing, but we can learn to do it. So how do we learn to do it? You study your material. You got to know it inside out. So each of you have a topic, a passion, a gift, something that you are very well spoken on. You can speak about it all day. What are you doing that can take it to the next level? Now, you don't need to be the Nobel Prize winning person on the topic. You just need to know more than your audience. So I'm not somebody I coach a lot of women who are perfectionists, but I'm really someone who's an action taker, and I encourage you to take action on this. So if you feel like you're nervous to speak, what I want you to remember is that taking that action, knowing your material, and putting yourself out there is something you can do. You just have to trust me on this. Your audience does not know as much about your topic as you do. So you're already at an advantage. So don't let your imposter syndrome or self-doubt talk you out of it, because that's sometimes what it does. So tip number 1 is really to trust your content, because there's always areas to improve and keep learning more. But if you have been doing what you do for 5 years or more, or maybe you've written a book, or you have a degree in something, you know enough. You know enough. So don't keep perfecting it. Don't get caught up in the perfectionism trap. I see this happen a lot to women, and it holds them back. So at some point you have to say, done is better than perfect. Let's go. Tip number 2, to be a really impactful and influential speaker, is to connect with your audience. How do you do that? Well, there's lots of different ways. But when you can connect with your audience, they will listen. And when your audience listens, they're more likely to buy what you're selling. Now, notice how I'm saying this. I'm speaking slow. and I'm speaking slow for impact. People listen a little bit slower than we speak. If you speak too fast, you will lose your audience and you'll lose the connection. One easy way is to pause before you say something impactful and then pause after you say it. So, how does that look? I'm going to share with you a great tip on how you can connect with your audience. Are you ready? Pause. So everybody's listening, everybody has their pen. Take a few seconds to pause before your biggest point, and then pause a few seconds after to be sure it landed. When I'm speaking at this cadence, hopefully you can almost visualize the pauses where the words fit in, and then there's a little valley of a pause, just a second or two. That's actually a learned skill, and it's not natural for me. It's not natural for most speakers, but when we speak in this way, where we take a few seconds and we pause, it's so much easier for you as the listener to hear what I'm saying. As I know for me, if I were to speak at my natural pace, I would probably go about this fast and you wouldn't hear anything I'm saying. See the difference? So if you want to speak for impact and you want to be an influential speaker, whether you're speaking to your husband because you want to convince him why you need that vacation to Europe this summer, or you want to speak on a sales call to one client to sell them your $20,000 product, or you're speaking on a stage and you really want to engage that audience because there's hundreds of people listening to you, take the pause and let the pauses help you connect with your audience.
Hi, Dara. What a fabulous tip. Oh my God. I've been to speakers' rooms before and I've never heard anything quite this practical. And I love practical things. So, my question to you is, so I'm from New York, so I do very, very fast most of the time. And I live in New Mexico where it's mañana time. So my question, and when people speak here, they speak really slowly, and I lose it because I think they need to speed up. So my question to you is, how slow is too slow?
That's a great question. Oh my gosh. There is a little bit of trying to match the region you're in. I mean, I know in the South they talk a little bit slower. It doesn't mean I'm going to pick up a Southern drawl and try to do that. But if you're speaking to a point that you notice people are looking at their watch, or they start pulling out their phone, or they're turning their head to look around like, where the heck is the exit? Maybe a little too slow. Now, here's the thing. There's so much more on this topic. This was just one tip. And by the way, if anybody wants to go way deeper with this, please send me a DM and we can chat offline. But you don't speak that slow the entire time. It's for emphasis. You add your pauses for emphasis. If you're just speaking and then you drop it like, okay, now here's my big idea. Are you ready? It's going to be, you want to pause for impact. People missed it. So what happens is people are half listening. I know some of you right now are half listening because you're busy. But when there's a silence, all of a sudden people will look up or look at their phone and go, huh, what just happened? So we grab their attention in that silence. And so just for a few seconds, we pause and then we reveal the big idea or the big concept, and then pause after for it to stick. And as you're doing that, if you were in front of me, I would look at you and make eye contact, another way to connect. But do you notice how I'm speaking now? It's not as slow. Why? Because I'm excited. When you're excited, you speak a little bit faster. You amp it up, the energy. So there's different tonality, different pacing to help make your speech interesting. But in general, most of us speak way too fast. Like me, who was a fast, I had all of it. I was a fast talker. I was a mumbler. Um, I guess maybe you could say I slurred some words because I spoke so quickly. It didn't land. There was no impact. Nobody heard anything I said. And I knew this was true because when I was in corporate meetings, I would speak up, and then 2 seconds later, somebody else would say the same exact thing, but they spoke with that powerful cadence. So if you notice you're getting talked over a lot or interrupted a lot, this will help you.
Brilliant. So brilliant. Thank you so much, Dara.
I'm guessing you probably haven't heard this before either, but if you want to be paid to speak, you're thinking of the path of professional speaking. You want to learn how to monetize your message. Remember that people pay for transformation. Oftentimes we hear people say, sign up for my course. It's a 3-day course, $199. You'll learn my top 5 tips. What they're doing is they're selling the features. Don't do that. Sell the transformation. So, for example, if you click the link above for Speak for Income, you'll get a free pitch that tells you exactly what you need to do to learn how to pitch yourself for a TED Talk and beyond. And you can become a speaker from that. You know who does this really well is a bottle of aspirin. Next time you're in your medicine cabinet, take a peek, pull out a bottle of aspirin or any medicine that you have in there and look at it. How do they grab your attention? They sell transformation. Of course, it says on there 90 tablets, but that's really, really small. Or it'll say the active ingredients, but that's even smaller. They're selling the transformation. Relieves headaches, reduces fever, pain reliever. And then the clincher that they have to do to really get you to catch it is extra strength.
Dara, this is Kat. I'll jump in if that's okay. I love the tips though, and I'm getting a lot out of it. I'm like, I need to tweak my stuff a little bit. So thank you for sharing tonight. It is awesome.
So let's recap. So we said number 1 is to trust your content. You know more than your audience, go with it, start speaking. Number 2 is to find a way to connect with your audience. And one of the ways I'm suggesting is the pause. Use the power of the pause. Number 3 is to not sell features, sell the transformation. And to take that tip to the next level, if you really want to get paid well, because there is a lot of money in the speaking world, the bigger the transformation, the more money you can make. Okay, so here's a bonus tip I wanted to offer, is that counter arguments are more powerful than just a plain argument. So what I mean by that is, we've all heard things the same way. If you say, we all need to exercise 30 minutes a day, it's great for your heart. That's great, but we've heard it before. So if you're an expert on exercise or fitness, can you come up with a counter argument that we probably haven't heard before that would maybe catch our attention? This is really a great way to sell what you do. You may have to think big here. You may have to push yourself because it's not going to come to you immediately. But for example, maybe you can say, too much exercise is actually dangerous for you. And stop with that. Pause. Because now people are hooked of, wow, what did she just say? Why is too much exercise bad? Or, lose weight by eating cake, right? All those sort of gimmicky things. As long as you can back it, you can't just say it if you can't back it. You have to have some evidence or statistics or research to help prove your counter argument. So think about the work you do and how can you take it to the next level? TEDx loves people who can come up with a counter argument or debunk a common myth that we have. So this is a big tip. This is like 3 tips in one here, okay? If you can come up with a counter argument, use it because it's more powerful than saying it plainly. So let me pause here.
Totally applauding and so wise, and that was brilliant. Thank you. Thank you so much. That was excellent.
Oh, well, I appreciate you being here and asking the question. And yeah, sometimes it takes a little bit of brainstorming and try it out on friends and think of how you can go to the next level. This is actually hours and hours of content. There's so much more here. So what I want to invite you to do is click the link for Speak for Income. It will take you to a free video. You can access that video to learn how to launch into the world of professional speaking, getting paid to tell your message. How cool is that? Somebody paying you to do the work you do. All right. So there's so much more I can teach you on this topic, and I'm happy to give you my free video to get you started. So be sure you click the link below for speakforincome.com, and we'll get you started. And you can reach out to me if you want to chat privately. You got this. Go get them.